Dear students, welcome to our virtual class. This is Amitab with you as usual. Here, new unit will be discussed today, and the title of the unit, that means unit 2, the title of the unit 2 is the greatest scientific achievements, and the lesson 3, and the title of this lesson 3 is scientific breakthroughs we are waiting for one. Let's come across learning its outcomes. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to comprehend the advancement of science, analyze Buzz Aldrin's criticism and his suggestions, learn the importance of DNA computing. That means DNA computer and permanent moon base will be discussed today. Let's get acquainted with a few vocabularies which will help you to have good understanding of the unit of the passage. Breakthrough means pass through a barrier. Prototype means preliminary model of something. That means if you would like to construct something, you are to make a preliminary model of that particular construction. That means this is called prototype. So prototype means a first and all typical or preliminary model of something. Then milestone or landmark. A stone set up beside a road to mark the distance in miles to a particular place. That means to indicate the miles of a particular place, milestone or landmark is used, but it has another meaning. What is the meaning? An act of event marking a significant change or stage in development. To denote the message of a successive development, we can use this term or vocabulary, milestone or landmark. Let's get information on DNA. What is DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. Let's get acquainted with a few information regarding DNA. DNA, a substance, genetic information, and living organisms. These three vocabularies, which are very much pregnant with information, has been stated in this slide, and try to frame a sentence using these vocabularies. And if you frame a sentence using these vocabularies, you can easily identify the definition of DNA. DNA, a substance, genetic information, living organism. That means what is DNA? DNA is a substance that stores genetic information of living organisms. That means genetic information of living organism is informed in DNA. So here lies the complete definition of DNA. That means DNA is a living substance that stores information, genetic information basically of living organism. Then evaluation of ancestral behavior. Ancestral behavior. That means the behavior of our forefathers. DNA is the wonderful carrier of ancestral behavior. That means from the time memorial, it is carrying the ancestral behavior. So we can say that DNA is a carrier of ancestral behavior. So DNA, a carrier of ancestral behavior, if you are supposed to write down the sentence, you will have to write down that the DNA is a carrier of ancestral behavior. DNA is treated as a carrier of ancestral behavior. Similar information has been represented in a different form. That means in one term we can say that DNA is the carrier of ancestral behavior. Then what is the purpose of DNA? What function does a DNA perform? DNA computer uses the concept of DNA. That means DNA computer, the concept of DNA computer has been derived from the concept, from the proficiency of DNA. So, DNA computer uses the concept of DNA. That means the concept of DNA is used regarding the invention of DNA computer. Why is the concept of DNA used? To store information and to perform complex calculations. That means in one sentence, we can write down that DNA computer uses the concept of DNA. Why? To store information and to perform complex calculations. That means to store the information and to perform complex calculations, the concept of DNA is taken for the invention of DNA computer. Is the information clear? Is the idea clear? I hope this idea is clear to you all. The Maya 2, this is the prototype. That means preliminary model of DNA computer. So, Maya 2 is the preliminary model of DNA computing. In a broader way, we can get more information regarding DNA computer. And this information is available in your text. And this is the complete representation of text. If you go through this video, if you have close observation on these slides, you can have good understanding over this unit, over the text. DNA computer, the concept of DNA computer is taken from the efficiency of DNA. This is discussed earlier. From the efficiency of DNA, the concept is taken. DNA computer is currently in its infancy. It is currently in its infancy. That means the concept is in a preliminary stage, hasn't yet been developed. It is the process, ongoing process to be developed. If it is perfected, that means it is not perfected yet. If it is perfected, it will bring about revolution in storing information in a limited space. To store information is a prior concern nowadays. In a very limited space, we are supposed to store information. This is the demand of the present situation. So, if DNA computer is invented or perfected, our dream will be executed. Our dream of storing information in a limited space will be done. So, it is said that it is in its infancy. If it is perfected, there will be a great revolution regarding the store of information in a limited space. Then what is the characteristics of DNA? And what can a DNA do? DNA is capable of holding thousands of years of high definition video. This information is given in your text. So I have taken this information from your text. And DNA is capable of storing information in a limited space. This information has been discussed earlier in the previous slide. Capable of showing extreme efficiency in storing information. As DNA computer, if it is perfected, is capable of storing information in a very limited space. So in one term, we can say that it can easily show its efficiency in storing information. Capable of holding all the printed materials in the world. The printed materials available in the world can easily be stored in DNA. And capable of holding genetic information. That means it can easily carry genetic information. That means it can easily carry ancestral behavior. So we can say that DNA is capable of holding genetic information. In a sentence, we can say that DNA is capable of holding thousands of years of high definition. DNA is capable of storing information in a limited space. The frequency DNA is the frequency has been omitted here. Then permanent moon base. What do we know regarding the permanent moons? A moon base project. Here you will come across the fact of a project or a mission regarding the establishment of human habitation on the surface of moon. So in one term we can say moon base project refers to, means the plan of setting up human habitation in the moon. That means with the advancement of science, scientists dream of establishing human habitation on the surface of the moon. So the project of establishing human habitation refers to a plan of setting up human habitation. So in a sentence, moon base project refers to the plan of setting up human habitation in the moon. That means on the surface of the moon. Now, different space agencies come up to fulfill the dream. What is the dream? Yes, the establishment of human habitation on the moon. Different space agencies come up with their idea of constructing moon base by 2030. That means by 2030, they have decided that moon base construction will be completed by 2030. But is it really easy? It sounds easy, but it is very much hard to execute. The biggest barrier, there is the barrier. What is the barrier? The money is the barrier here. Fabulous amount of money will have to be spent for the execution of this dream. The biggest barrier to this project is money. That means money is the biggest barrier regarding the construction of human habitation on the surface of the moon. So, fabulous amount of money is proposed to be spent. So, this project has been severely criticized by many people within NASA, including Buzz Aldrin. Why it is criticized? Because there is no value regarding the construction of human habitation, as huge amount of money will be spent. So, we need to spend this amount of money in a very fruitful way, in something broader sense. Buzz Aldrin's suggestion to NASA, what is the suggestion proposed by the Aldrin? It is most important to save our existing adorable living planet. Existing adorable living planet means our Earth. It is very much necessary for us to save our Earth than to construct moon base. NASA should put more emphasis on different issues like clean energy. That means instead of constructing moon base, NASA should give importance on clean energy. What is clean energy will be discussed in the next video class. So we should have focus on clean energy, then on the construction of human habitation. So regarding the construction, here is the summary of the ideas and information discussed in the previous slides. NASA's plan to have one constructed by 2024. Different space agencies propose to construct by different years. NASA's plan to have one constructed by 2024. ESA, European Space Agency, plans to construct a moon base by 2025. Japan's plan to construct a moon base by 2030. India's plan to construct moon base by 2030. That means this is the identical year was proposed by both Japan's and India's to construct moon base. So Buzz Aldrin's criticism, we have come across the criticism. What is his criticism? We should have focus on our adorable country. It is very much important to save our adorable planet than to construct moon base. And Buzz Aldrin suggests, what is the suggest? Yes, we should put more emphasis on clean energy. This is the suggestion. So this is the review of the discussed ideas. After going through the passage, that means if you watch this video carefully, you will have good understanding on this unit and you can easily answer any topic. Here is the exercise of flowchart. The rules of flowchart have been discussed earlier. So there lies a flowchart. Flowchart has been given for you to practice. Based on your reading of the passage, make short notes in each of the boxes in the flowchart showing the specks of DNA. Specks of DNA has been discussed in our classes. So if you are very much attentive to my class, that means to this video class, you can easily write down the 5 specks of DNA following the first one. First indication has been given in the box. Following the indication, you will have to write down 5 points regarding the specks of DNA. Then another one, based on your reading of the passage, make short notes in each of the boxes in the flowchart showing the plans of organizations in respect of making a permanent colony on the moon and its hindrance to it. NASA's plan to have one constructed by 2004. Different space agencies have proposed their plan and we have to write down their proposed plan in the box as well as Aldrin's criticism, because 2 points you are to mention regarding the permanent colony of moon base and its hindrance to it, obstacles to it. You are to write down the obstacle to the construction of moon base. So 3 information will have to be put here regarding the moon base construction, and another one is Aldrin's criticism as well as what is the hindrance to. We have come across the fact that money is the great hindrance to the establishment of moon base. So this will have to be put following the instruction of flowchart. So that's all today. If you have good concentration on this video, I think you have a good clarification on this unit. Thanks to you all.